I did a lecture on it. Yeah, I did a lecture on it, and I thought, you know what, I think me and Sid would like this. My screen isn't showing on the stream, by the way. What, the stream? I think so, yeah. I don't think I can hear you. Yeah, I can't hear your audio. Other than that, it's pretty cool.
But I mean, doesn't it make like the stream better if I wasn't talking? Like much nicer that way.
That'd be so much nice.
You'll be there talking to no one. Turn my screen off. Turn my camera off. No microphone, but you can still hear me and you can still see me. And the entire thing is like I've got like a devil in your shoulder. It's like you're talking to no one. Absolutely going mental. But I feel like I'd have to keep the gap with my name just like a black screen there. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, have you got the chat up then as well?
Oh God!
Can you see the chat?
I need a new chat because dismiss our my broadcast, our first live stream. Average view duration of 9 seconds. What the fuck? Yes. We've fallen off, man.
I think we're doing pretty good. 9-second view duration.
But the thing is, like, there was only one viewer, me, and I watched it for more than 9 seconds. I have no idea. I think it make up
the average viewer stuff when it's so low, it's really like off base. Like, because also, right, so when we first posted in like a month, the post got like 8 views, right? And then it said average viewership for the month 250.
I was like, no, watching it is a question.
It's not an average. That's not our average.
I mean, yeah, most definitely not. Most definitely not. I mean, I don't know. Oh look, I like it. You can see it in. I think we'll keep it like this for now until we are ready to start. Do you want to do some introductions actually?
Some intros.
Yeah, just explain what's happening. Who you are, who I am.
Oh right, yeah. I'm Charlie. We're doing a stream. Hopefully you've watched the other videos, so you kind of know what's going on. Yeah, I guess I kind of come at things from like a more left-wing perspective, and you kind of come at them from like a more libertarian kind of. Your like dream world is like a anarchist liberal world, right? But where like everyone gets along. Yeah. And then mine is quite like a big state. Kind of, I like a big state. I like heavy government intervention.
So, I love that intro because it's like, so I'm Charlie and I'm more left wing, and Sydney's more libertarian because I'm not really. I'm righter than you, yes. I'm right wing.
You are, but you're not exactly right wing. And I think a lot of the time as well, I think you kind of start off supporting the more right wing points and then end up like backing down on them half the time. I feel like you intrinsically agree with them a lot, but then whenever it's actually like put into like into practice, you're like, yeah, it doesn't work, so I don't like it.
No, I would say it's more that I have right wing solutions to left wing problems.
Elaborate. What does that mean?
The problems that the left would agree are problems, and I will use. All right, let's use capitalism or something like that to fix it.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of let's use government to fix it.
Yeah. That's
fair. I mean, I'm not the most right wing now, but this, honestly, I think the second I get like I have kids, that's it. I'm gonna be. I will, and that's like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you become more right wing.
Yeah, more like is it the word like traditional kind of thing?
Yeah,
I think the reason I've still got these airy fairy beliefs is only because like I'm a kid and I haven't had. I'm not a kid. I'm in my 20s. I've still got like hope. The world, you know what I mean? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm picking up.
Yeah, I do kind of get that. Yeah, your camera, by the way.
Like, I'll get more realistic with outcomes and wants as I
think
that's a grow on.
I mean, partially. I think mainly the reason why you see like a move to the right as you get older is you have more. So then the philosophy of protect what's yours becomes more and more appealing. Problem is like the reason why people aren't going more right wing now as they get older is they're not owning more. Like millennials aren't buying houses, they're not buying cars, they're not buying stuff that they own, so they don't care about protecting their interests.
God damn millennials, I tell you. God damn them.
Might be the worst generation.
It's been worse. There's been worse. It's just it was the boomer generation originally that were like they were the ones complaining over like how do you say it? They were complaining about the millennials for not having because the boomers did not keep generational wealth.
Right. Yeah.
They did not pass it on. They had within their the values bestowed upon them by the popular culture that they grew up upon and also lived in. They didn't do much of a giving to children, whether it be financially or also morality, and also they get sent to homes instead of being cared for by the kids. More better way doing it. Instead of having a state to rely on taking care of your mother, you do it as a thank you for raising me for 18 years and you wiped my ass, I'll wipe yours.
Agreed, but I think there's a lot of things like the state can do that the individual can't. And it does it for us when we're young, so it should also do it for us when we're old.
I don't see why it should do it for us when we're old, because of course, if we agree to your thing of the state does stuff for us when we're young, yeah, it does. Us giving back to it, giving back, it's give and take relationship. Us giving back is us paying tax in our adult life afterwards. Why is the government's why should an old person be the government's responsibility? It should be hopefully the kids that they raised, if they had them.
Because I think everyone, if we can live in a world where we can afford to be able to have stuff like pensions, that's a good world to live in, right? Where people have, where people are looked after when they get old. Do you think that's just good?
Yes, people being good looked after is good.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean the government looking after people mean good. Why can't the people? The government by definition is an extension of a person.
Yeah, but what happens if all your kids are dead? Or, what happens if... So I'm an only child, right? And my parents are quite old. They're probably going to die when I'm in my 20s or 30s. I'm not really going to be set up at that point to be able to look after them. When I'm in my mid-20s, I'm going to have to start looking after them. That's not really... They're not really... how am I supposed to be able to look after that when a state could?
I don't know. I feel inherently that having your own flesh and blood take care of you would be better for you than having the state, because of course the children are those who hopefully care about you, as opposed to a state who the second that you become a burden on the resources instead of a help on resources, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but the state should look after you, because that's the whole point of stuff like pensions. That's why they're cool. It's because it is the state going, all right, yeah, we'll look after you, even though you're not contributing anymore. You're just kind of a drain. But what it helps as well is it helps the idea of the state, right? You're going to put more in. You'll happily pay more taxes if you feel like you're getting enough out of it. If you take away stuff like pensions, people feel like, why would I contribute?
Make people like the government more. That's it.
Yeah, it should be like a relationship that works both ways. They should like us and we should like them. If we don't, there's an issue, right? If we don't like our government, there's a problem.
I don't like our government also. The government itself is a representation of the average person, all right? And then the average person is never a true representation of a person. You know what I mean by that?
Not really.
The government executes the will of the people, yes?
Yeah, partially.
So if the will of the people is to take care of the elderly, they will do that, yes?
Yeah.
But on an individual level,
mm-hmm.
it is more effective for an individual to take care of one individual than it is for 100 people to take care of 100 people through government resources.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, because that's like the whole way like care homes work and schools work, is you don't actually need 1-to-1. You can get by with 1-to-10, 1-to-20, 1-to-30 sometimes, and that's like the whole point of it. And I think also like, well, the problem with your thinking is, as I said, like, what if someone has no one that will look after them? Should they then just basically be left to die? Like, no, that's why the state's there. And then you can't, how do you go, oh, okay, do you have any people that can look after you? You shouldn't. So that's why, like, you just say, fine, all right, everyone gets it. And then, bam, bish, bash, bosh, done, you know?
Okay, thinking further, all right, so with this, if the government went to me and was like, Sydney, are you fine with paying tax on them? I fucking hate it. Right, okay, let's do it so you can tick what you can and what you do want to pay and what you don't want to pay for. Okay, I'm fine with that system. And they go, do you want to donate towards the homeless grannies? Yeah, I would. So for those rare situations where the kids are not able to,
that's relying on donations. Sid, what if there's a recession? Donations
No. You're misunderstanding. This is a hypothetical thing of basically if the government went, all right, we're going like, I can't explain it in a way that you understand it. In a system where I could tick yes and no to what I'm paying my taxes on, I would make sure that I am paying my taxes that goes to homeless grandparents. Right. From that, it means I am fine with the government taking care of elderly people if they have no living relatives or no living relatives who want to, not because of selfish reasons, but because not for selfish reasons. Because I think it's a moral thing I would like to do. Take care of my parents when they're older, if I am able to.
Yeah, but so right, but in like this, I don't really get what like the point of you saying that is, because essentially that's the power you have by voting. But like the problem is if you were to tick as you paid your taxes, so many people just would barely pay any tax, right? Because what's an appropriate amount of tax to pay, right? For every £1, how much would you give to homeless grannies as a penny?
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. This is just for a system where I'm saying that I am fine with government helping out those who are elderly and do not have any other way of being taken care of. I am fine with that.
Okay, but what counts as any other means, and then what counts as, well, you could just rely on family? Well, if they have a family, but the family refused to help them?
I think it's a moral duty of the children, if they were raised well by their parents, to help them in their old age. So if you've got an abusive parent,
I would agree. I'd probably say it's immoral to not look after your parent. But what if they don't? Do we then, as a state, should we then just let that person die? Or like, no, we should intervene then. Like,
yes, but if we could try and not mandate, if we can try and have it in our culture where where it is the norm to take care of your grandparents, take care of your parents. Your grandparents, parents, and children are all living in the same home. The government would love that. They love shoving us into tightly packed pods. Why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Like, what is wrong with having an entire family unit living under the same roof? When the parents are out to work, the retired grandparents are raising the children.
But I want my own space, and I should be able to have my own space.
I don't know. Yeah, you can have your own space in your 20s, but in your 30s and stuff like that, you know.
Getting your own space.
In your 20s, you can have your own space. In your 30s.
But I thought you were all about libertarianism, right? And letting people like have lots of choices. This doesn't sound like people are getting choices here. It kind of sounds like people are being forced into looking after their parents. It's taking away their choice.
I want to live in a society where this way of living is encouraged, not through state force or like tax deducts, whatever, something like that, but through common culture of like, it's the right thing to do is to take care of your family.
Sure, but do you know how difficult that is to do?
Very.
Like if the government could do that, right? If they could get us to just look after the elderly, they could lower how much they spend on the elderly by so much. They would love
Exactly.
that. Like the only reason they haven't done that is because it's almost impossible to force that. You can't really curate that.
Positive media, like showcases of them, of these sort of familial units.
It doesn't
The government
solve
does has
it
it.
entirely, though. We've got tons of media with familial units in it, with kids looking after, with like grandparents living with the parents. We have tons of media like that.
I don't know. Maybe this our current society has too much resentment for the generations before that. Maybe you should blame them for their issues instead of like blaming other causes such as like governmental policy. Like, oh, why is
Partially,
my
I mean,
fucking parents' generation? They fucking ruined the housing market.
I think a lot of like the reason why we don't look after our elderly enough is we place too much like importance on money, right? Like
Yeah, I
we
agree.
we,
I've
we
always
ask
agreed with
as
this.
like workarounds, but like I don't know. I think removing the state doesn't help that scenario. It just makes it like unlucky for the ones that don't have help. They just become kind of more stuck.
Not every solution of mine is remove the state. All right. I'm saying that this. I think that we should live in a better, more just society where this is happening. Where instead we are actually focusing
Yeah,
on having positive culture.
fair enough. Yeah, I like that.
Whilst I get into the first topic, would you
Mhm.
mind quickly just on your computer on YouTube typing out some tags and a quick description for this stream? Whilst I'm gonna start reading out the first thing.
Of course.
All right, so okay, yeah. For our first one, we've. I'm gonna give a brief look at what we're doing overall. Actually, so we're doing.
Mhm.
See from the title, it's a tuition, tuition spending and thought. I should have found a second T. It's like a synonym for T, like tariffs. Don't know. Yeah, so we're talking about the rise. I mean, this is a
Oh yeah.
month-old story, but we're talking about raising tuition fees in the UK. Because it's been, let's just say, basically all universities are broke, right? And how do we fix that? Make them more cost-effective? Nah, let's just make the government pay more money. Then we are also talking about how actually this whole DOGE program thing is not actually slowing spending at all, according to Reuters at least. Let's look at this. It's the recent developing story, of course. We talked about this last week about the DOGE cuts, and afterwards we're going to do some Leo Strauss here for what was it again? Substantive thought, wasn't it?
Oh no. How have I forgotten that? Straussian thought.
Named after himself.
Named
Straussian thought.
after Leo Strauss. Yeah,
Do
yeah.
some morality discussions as well, and who knows? Maybe later we'll officially finally got a Twitter. I mean, took a lot of convincing for Charles to finally get a Twitter, but you know we've got it.
Hate Twitter.
I don't know. I think you're just a hater, man. Honestly.
I am. I am a massive hater of Elon Musk. Probably like his number one hater.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
used to love him as well. That's what's weird.
you have a hate
I
boner
used to
for
rate
him.
him so
Yeah,
much.
I mean,
I
I'm
really
not gonna.
do.
I don't want to insult you, but you've had the Reddit journey. Reddit used to worship the ground he was sat on. Now,
Mhm.
ooh,
Yeah,
well, I disagree with everything. So therefore,
a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fully.
I'd say like I didn't use Reddit. I used to use. But no, went outside and had sex with a lady.
Don't act like you're better than me.
One person's engaged. Weirdly, I'm not the engaged one. So clearly,
Yeah.
there must be some hidden. Oh, I fucking hate you. Some hidden technique only found on Reddit. But yeah, so just reading through this here. The Higher Education Policy Institute is published a result last month of January, so nearly 2 months ago, if anything, on their
Right.
of about 1,100 students. So I think it's quite a fair amount of people, and this is for students. This is the key thing about it. They polled students, and they are more palatable for an increase in tuition fee if maintenance support also is increase. So apparently here you can see that the finances are running low, and apparently 72% of institutions, education institutions, will be in deficit by the end of this academic year. So what does that mean? May.
Yeah.
2024, 25.
May,
That's,
June.
that's quick, is really.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
key
that's
findings
like
here, which this is beautifully done article. Students overwhelmingly oppose a tuition fee increase, and despite the arguments of the government and universities, they don't see it as necessary. But when the increase in maintenance support is also included, a 50-50 on it, saying, between it, it's good or bad, and clearly that it says here, this suggests the maintenance increase makes a fee rise appear more acceptable to students, which is basically those 50% who switched are self-serving, I'd say. That's boiling it down a lot, because yes, the maintenance fee is not enough to cover everything. Because I'm doing an engineering degree, I'm doing putting a lot of hours in.
Yeah.
And money is tight.
Yeah.
Other people have more lax degrees, they have a lot less contact hours, and they also have the ability to balance a job on that. I also have to state I do freelance work. That's where I get my money from, because I do have to be able to make rent. I do have to be given the maintenance loan, sent a bit of money from my parents, and also try my best to match the amount of money that they send me through freelancing to then be able to afford food and food and things. And I'm not out here eating steaks and stuff. I am eating like all my food comes from Aldi or Lidl, and they are all batch cooked and bought in bulk and from the discount aisle. Not discount aisle. They're bought in bulk and cooked in bulk, so I can save every penny I can. I don't go out for dinner. I'll go out for drinks 1.5 times a week, and usually I get like 2-3 beers tops.
Well, this is sad. Like that's not what we want for students, right?
We want them. This is the time. You're in your 20s, right? Okay. We're both in our 20s. Last project.
Yeah.
We're in our 20s. This is it. This is when we can do things without consequences under quotation marks there. Because I don't think you should, morally should, but if you're going to do it now. All right. Your body can handle this sort of level of like drinking, like having fun, and going out and staying out late and.
No, I don't mean it. I'm saying, if anything, like we're not able to do it enough as students anymore. I mean, every single student I know has a job.
Yeah.
I don't know a single one who doesn't have a job, and I think that's wrong that students have to have jobs.
During secondary school, a few would have jobs, and why it was for pocket money. Right?
Yeah, exactly. If you want to be that hard worker that goes and gets a job, and then it's more money so that you can afford going out to restaurants, buying yourself clothes, getting the latest iPhone. Great, good for you, right? Take some initiative, awesome. But like, you shouldn't have to. Like, that's the whole point of being a student, right? Is you're a student. When you put in what is your occupation, you put full-time student, and yet I'm expected to also have a full-time student and have a part-time job. Like, that's
I have
crazy.
People who do full-time jobs. 40 hours in and still study.
No, same.
And they're not part-time students. They're full-time students with a full-time job. Double full-time.
Yeah.
No free time.
Yeah.
Can't have a fucking sit in front of me.
And then we're wondering why like people are coming out of uni like less educated and less well-rounded than they used to, because they don't actually have as much time to focus on their education.
They don't enjoy it either.
No.
I think that it should be in a similar level of comfort that you have during secondary school. Of those who have a job are the ones with a little bit extra spending money. They can go out twice a week, whereas the government money should be able to fund food. I think the same amount of money that I spend on food, so I try my best to have my food costs for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and anything extra be about £3 a day.
What, for all 3 meals?
To be fair, I'm a very, very thrifty
consumer. Insane, Jesus. I mean, but what about tuition fees though, rather than maintenance? Like, what about tuition fees?
Tuition fees for me, because both of us have to ask tuition because I'm lucky. I don't have to pay international student fees because I was able to get my citizenship in time.
Yeah,
I'm able to get the government money, so that £9,250 goes directly to the government. I never see it, and I don't know. For my degree, I can understand if someone argues that they're getting £9,000 worth of education. I wouldn't say that. I just think our course is not managed well. But I can understand for a STEM degree, people are feeling they're getting their money's worth. But some of my friends who do media communication, most of my friends do media communication or journalism or sometimes English, and they have 4 hours contact a week. How is that worth £9,000 a year?
No, it's crazy. I have about 8 to 10 hours of contact a week. I mean, I think the problem is, so I actually had this debate because I'm part of like the Labour Society at my uni, right?
Yes, you are.
And we were talking about this last night. The majority of people were actually in favour of raising it, which I found baffling. But their argument was basically what we get from uni isn't good enough, right? And essentially the reason why is it's broke, and it's full of people that are paying £9,000 that, like, for degrees that, like, half of it they're not really here for the degree, they're just here to like muck around and have fun, and then the money they have to receive funding, so the quality drops for everyone. So their argument was make it more expensive, accept less people in. But I think that's stupid, especially for a left-wing group of people, because then you're basing who can go and who can't go based off what your income is, like your parental income. That's dumb to me.
Yeah. I mean, I was just...
Even if it comes in with debt, because, like, you know, if you're from a well-off background, you're more likely to be okay with debt than if you're from a poorer background.
So you know how we have widening participation. So for those from underprivileged backgrounds, luckily that one's a lot that underprivileged. But luckily also means class, because I think that's the most important factor in this is class, not sexuality, race, or anything else. The most important is class. That's just me. I'm a class conscious kind of person. I care about that sort of thing most. And
yeah, I think it's huge.
So I was thinking idly in my head whilst you were saying that. What about some sort of, let's say a course is now raised to, let's say, something, a big number, £15,000 a year, right? It's raised to that, and depending on government quotas, shutter sound effect, like depending on government quotas, they will like go for an engineering degree will pay 100% of your tuition, and for the degrees that are less important, will pay a lower percentage of that. So maybe like you might have to pay. You might, like, if you're doing a degree with 4 hours of contact a year. The
problem with that system is what's less important, right? Like, I noticed you said, what did you say, engineering, right?
Yeah.
And you are an engineer, so like this is the problem: is what's important? Do we need? Because I think, you know, you can't underestimate the value of subjects like English literature, music, art, drama. We can't undervalue these, because like it's what creates like culture. And it's what actually keeps the world flying. I mean, so one of my housemates does graphic design, and like he's the only one I know who is actually making like a material difference to the world now. Like he's actually putting out output, right? And that would be a degree that would be brushed aside, like, that's stupid, but it's not, right? He's producing more value than I am with an economics degree, although you are with an engineering degree. I mean, you produce an output, right, which is your music stuff and this podcast.
Yes.
That's completely unrelated to your engineering stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, to just go, you know, engineers and maths, they should get paid more. No, because like everything's valuable.
I don't like the people who are like, STEM are the only important degrees. But yeah, there is a hint of truth to it, and I'll say a hint of truth to it. So like, what I'm trying to say is more like, it's not going to be a system where STEM gets paid 100% of their tuition, and then if you're doing like graphics or music, you get paid 20%. And we're talking something like 80% will get funded instead. So it's if you have less contact hours, you have, in theory, more free time to do it. Or if you have, or if you're studying for a degree, which is a degree where the best way, it's like journalists, media and communication people, their degree, they'll say it is worth diddly squat, really. All right. What it is it's worth. It's the whole point of the university experience for them is for the networking, is for using their time in university to foster connections to then get a job out of it, because it's not a place. It's more of a who you know kind of thing. Yes,
Right.
yes, getting a first is going to be great for you, but there's a lot of people who get firsts. It's all about I've been working in my free time with the BBC, and then once I graduated, I let them know, and they offered me a job. But if your degree is something where the degree is where the degree needs supplemental material of also working in the industry at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
First off, I very much hate internship culture. I don't think you should be no one should be accepting no money for hours of labour. They should be getting paid. They should be getting paid for that, and then also cool. So you're getting paid for that, so you're also able to pay a bit of tuition as well at the same time. You can pay some of your tuition now. Like, I think that's a system which I would be more able to get behind.
Yeah.
Me, I'm not allowed, because I'm a nuclear engineer, I'm not allowed anywhere near a nuclear power plant until I get my safety training. All right, so it is not feasible for me with the amount of hours I have in contact with my people. Now, last year it was about close to 40 hours a week.
Right.
That's not including any of the pre-lecture stuff. There's 40 hours sitting down in lecture theatre. So it was about 60 hours of work I was putting in, like that. Minimum.
Right. Yeah.
So that's not for these sort of courses where it's very focused on gaining accreditation. This is what these jobs which the government should be funding more, and other jobs where it's about gaining skills that you don't gain through someone telling you about it. It's through your own hard work and action. Your hard work is labour. Labour is money. Money should also be put towards this.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do get it. I mean, is it all right if I go on a little bit of a left-wing rant here?
My pleasure. I need a drink break anyway.
Yeah, awesome. So, I think that the problem is, right, with all of tuition fees. This is why I'm in favour of completely scrapping it, because I think every system it's cool, right? You've got different ideas, like the one you came up with earlier, where they partially support it, etc. Problem is monetizing education is a dumb idea, right? Because it puts pressure on people. So when you're at uni, I'm sure you've experienced this, right? Half the complaints about uni are that it doesn't make you that much more employable. Now that in itself is a problem. People shouldn't be going to uni to become employable. People should be coming here to learn more, to develop their ideas, to expand, to grow, to whatever, right? It shouldn't be, because I want to get paid more, right? And it becomes solely based off money, and unis push for international students. Why? Because they give more money. Unis push for STEM subjects. Why? Because they have better career prospects, so they can advertise that you make more money if you go here, right? It all boils down to money. And I think it's just like, whether you up it, whether you lower it, whether you do anything with it, whilst they exist, you're going to have a fundamental issue in education that a fundamental issue in education that you are monetizing something that should never be monetized.
I don't know.
Yeah, a little rant over. Thank you.
I'm not too sure. Like, what do you mean by the going to university to become more employable?
So people go because you're going to get a degree out of it. Like, people go because what does a degree give you, right? It gives you a better chance of getting a higher paying job, right? Most of my friends I know are like, oh, I'm just doing it, right, to get a job.
Yeah.
Right. So many people here are like, but I kind of need it for the job. Right. And I think that's really sad. I think that's not how uni should be done. It's not what it's meant to be for. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and then because when I first went to uni, I was like, oh, it's stupid, right? It's not actually prepared me to work at all. You know what? It hasn't, and that's because it's not its job to. Like, I feel like I've genuinely learned things. I'm a more knowledgeable person now that I've gone to uni. I'm not that much more employable, right? People are always complaining, oh, everyone's got a degree now. It doesn't set you out from the crowd anymore. That shouldn't be the point of going to uni, is to improve your job opportunities. That should be a byproduct. The point of it should be, I want to learn. I want to learn about this subject. I care about it. I want to learn about it. You know, if you want employability, that's why like vocational courses exist.
I don't know. How would I, in that system, how would I get a job as a nuclear engineer?
Well, like you still could, like, because as I said, it's still a byproduct of it. But the point is like it doesn't, when you're not charging for it, it doesn't become so solely focused on the employability, right? You would take nuclear engineering because that's what you wanted to take, you know. And then also you obviously, to become a nuclear engineer, you have to have a degree, right? But that's just kind of like a byproduct. But think about the amount of jobs there are that don't need that,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to become either a teacher or something in politics, right? Both of those don't really need degrees. There should be no reason I'm doing a degree in economics to specifically relate to those, other than to make me a more knowledgeable, well-rounded, smart, intelligent human being. That shouldn't be monetized. That should just be like oh, awesome, right? That's obviously the goal of uni, is to create more intelligent people.
So under your system, you're proposing here,
Yeah.
we'll have 2 routes after secondary school, or 3 routes of them not doing either. Route 1, go to university to become a more knowledgeable person, and this may increase your hireability.
Yep.
And there is a vocational thing. The whole point of it is not to become a more knowledgeable person, but it's to gain the relevance, gain the skills for a job.
Yeah. Or to not do it at all. Yeah.
So under that system, will the government pay for both of them?
Yes.
Of course it would.
Yeah. So and this is why
why should the government under that system pay for the want for knowledge?
Yeah. Because that's a good question, right? The reason being the want for knowledge. So I don't need a degree to be no, I do need a degree to be a teacher, but I shouldn't really, right?
No, you should have qualification to be a teacher.
Sure. But why is it important that our teachers do have degrees? Because they're more knowledgeable. We want the most knowledgeable population we can have. It's like Britain. So you have 3 main factors of production, right, in economics, right? You have labor, you have capital, and then you have efficiency, right? So how much per hour can someone do? And it's been very well shown that the more highly educated you are, the more output you can produce in an hour.
Wait, labor, capital, and what? Sorry.
Efficiency.
What about experience? Is that also not a core tenet of this equation?
Well, experience would lead into your efficiency, right? So the idea being, the more efficient you are, the more you can do with an hour of work.
Okay.
But and especially when we're talking macroeconomics as well, you have, how many people can I have working? How many machines can they use? And then how good are they at using those machines? Right. If so, that's why inventions like AI have boosted growth, and the internet boosted growth, right? Because it allows you to be more efficient. Think about how much quicker you can get stuff done now with AI compared to searching on Google. Think about how much quicker Google was compared to going in a library and trying to find it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the factors, and it's just fundamentally a good thing for the economics to have a smart population, and really it would pay for itself, right? You almost wouldn't need to cost for it, because the growth it would create is like almost immeasurable, right? One of the few things actually still keeping us a first world country is our highly educated population. People come from all around the world to come to our universities. Let's utilize that,
But let's say in your system that you propose, though, let's say that I've just taken a vocational course to become a doctor, now qualified doctor.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, government just paid for that. That's brilliant. And the government says also they can pay for universities so they can become a more knowledgeable person. Would a person in your system be allowed to do both?
Yeah.
All right, I've just done that. I'm going to go study music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no. Yeah, this is a perfect example, right? You are you are somebody who ideally wants to pursue music, right? And your fallback is nuclear engineering. You shouldn't have to have that fallback because you should just be able to do what you want to do. It shouldn't be so like, oh, and if you don't make it, you need to have a degree. Okay, go study music, learn music, give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, 25, go back to uni for free, go study engineering. Awesome. We now have an engineer. That is so much better than you, like, let's say, choosing to do music, getting to 25, not able to do it, can't afford to go back to uni and relearning because you're stuck, and therefore not becoming a qualified person. Or it's better than you giving up on music, etc., because you weren't able to have the time and the education to get it off. It's just a better world we would live in.
I'd never want to study music, even under your system. Issue with me.
Fair enough. Like, that's individual preference.
Yeah.
Right.
I can understand. I'm picking up what you're putting down, and I'm not able, even for my very intense libertarian. Sometimes I think like I'm putting on a mask here when I'm talking with you to act a bit more left wing than I am, and a bit more pro-government than I am. But even the deepest recesses of my mind, my only response to it is like, yeah, but I just don't like that. How it sounds.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't, mainly because I think why is like we have this image of students that just like
Fuck around.
Lazy, sitting around. Yeah, and they are. We are, right? I do. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Nothing. Forcing people to do stuff doesn't encourage that kind, like, to work harder, right?
I've just been shortlisted for outstanding contribution in the entire UK, so I don't think I'm a lazy one. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Like, that's awesome. But you've done that in something you're passionate in, not in something that you've done because it's good for money.
It's not outstanding contribution to nuclear. It's my hobby.
Dull.
Yeah.
Exactly. And life would be so dull if all we cared about was what can we get paid more. I don't want to live in a world where everyone's just a fucking accountant or something.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
And I'm studying accounting, right? I'm studying economics and accounting, and I don't want to live in a world just with accountants. They're really boring people. Okay, they're so boring.
I just don't. I think that as a society we shouldn't focus on money, but as a government we should. If you know what I mean.
I get that. I do get that. And like there is the problem basically of funding. But it would cost, it would cost about 50 billion a year to run.
In this conversation, we're always talking about we are implicitly implying we're keeping the university system the way it is, okay? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. What about instead of raising it, we change it to be something more cost efficient, where we integrate newer technologies into it to make professors and professors' lives easier. Like, why do we need to ship international students all the way here, make them pay 30 grand a year, when actually we can just sell, because all of my lectures are recorded, right? They're all recorded. Why not say you can do a virtual degree? International students, it's 20 grand. You can do all virtually.
People aren't going to pay as much for that. Also, it's important the uni doesn't pay for the international student to come over here. The international student still has to rent, buy food, travel over here on their own expense.
But that gatekeeps only the rich foreigners coming here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the issues. But
really
that's the problem. We're having international students so good, right? So good. Think about it. It's students going off into the world that have had English education, right? Learned English values, lived in English culture, right? That's so cool, right?
Yeah.
And yet gatekeeping that to the rich, that's stupid, right? We want to expand that. We want to spread like English culture around the world as much as we can, right?
Oh, but when anyone mentions the British Empire, suddenly that's not a good thing.
Well, I don't agree with doing it through like force, but like doing it through like education and giving people like access to better opportunities. That's so cool. And I was speaking to an international student yesterday, and she was saying literally it's in her, like, where she's from, she was like, it's crazy. Like, everyone's just like, oh my God, you're going to the UK to study. That's awesome. You'll have any job you want. You'll be set for life when you come out of that. Like, our education is still so highly regarded, and we shouldn't keep it for the rich. But unis have to, because they're not funded enough. And I don't think that funding should come from students, though, because I think that just makes the issue worse in the long run. It's got to come from the government to solve this issue.
Do we not think before we try and raise the tuition, do we not think we can at least try? and
Mm.
try and make it more cost efficient, make it work a bit better, and make this sort of thing.
Kind of. I mean, it's not.
I think
It's difficult to say cost efficient with uni because what's inefficient is a research experiment that failed. Is that inefficient?
no.
Then what's inefficient about uni? Because there's not that much inefficiencies, right? There's some unis do have issues, I think, with like the deans getting stuff like private cars and stuff like that. That's stupid.
Yep.
But
I've got class size of 12,
mm,
and in actuality, in more realistic thing, I'm for my main module. I'm in two different classes. One's a class of 5, one's a class of 3.
mhm,
That is
nice.
some sort of inefficient thing, and because of that, like nuclear engineering is not going to be running anymore because it's not cost efficient because not enough people are doing it. There's that sort
But
of thing.
that's so dumb because like yeah they could ram you together, but then you're gonna have a worse education, and then chances are you're not gonna pay the 9 grand if it's a bad education. But they shouldn't have to go, oh, we're not running it because it's not cost efficient. That's not the point of education, is to be cost efficient. You don't look at a primary school and go, this isn't cost efficient. Let's tax the kids, get our money's worth out of it. Like you go, okay, cool, there's other benefits to it.
Yeah, but like, how to say it? Like, First off, why don't I don't understand why universities don't specialize. Like, I'd like to go to I've speaking to an exchange student yesterday actually. Like, yeah, I went to an engineering college, and now I'm like here for a semester. We don't have engineering universities here.
True, yeah. I mean, we have it a little bit. So I was looking at doing a master's actually.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, I've been like looking into it, and I want to do it in development, like economics or development studies. And turns out Sussex is the #1 in the world for development studies, like in the world, like better than American colleges, better than Oxford, better than Cambridge, in the world, right? And yet, in terms of absolute uni, it's like 20th,
If that.
maybe 30th kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like it's not a very highly regarded uni, and that's cool, right? And that is specialization, but to some extent. I mean, there's nothing wrong really, right? So with, say, Southampton doesn't have a big sociology department.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very known for it. It's not big, right? However, sociology students still pay 9 grand, and they cost basically nothing. There's not much harm to the uni on taking them in, going, sure, here's one professor, maybe two. We'll take your money.
I mean, like, okay, so you're saying that Sussex is the best for this one course, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, is it the best for like what about a university system where, like, okay, this university they do economics, right? So all the economic related degrees, that's your one or two places in the UK we can get it, and apart from economics, there's not really much other things about it. That's on paper as a course system. But the first thing I immediately thought was like, what happens to like at the engineering college? Is there going to be a university radio station? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's the flaw. Is like most of my mates, I wouldn't have met them because I don't fuck with engineers. All right, I just don't.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
they're annoying and elitist.
There's I don't know. I think having like cultures and hubs of shared innovation, right? Where I'll be sat down with my housemates, right, having like a debate. One does philosophy, one does graphic design, one does like biology kind of things, one does physics kind of things. I do economics, and we'll sit down and we'll have a debate, and all of the ideas kind of merge, right? Like that's useful.
Mm-hmm.
No need to like pigeonhole it, But yeah,
I don't know. I feel that there is some sort of system which could be changed with the university. Maybe using things, because we're still using like PowerPoints and stuff like that, and I don't think it's a good efficient use of our and the professor's time. The fact that I have to go to a professor, professor once a week to sort of chat about how my course is going. I think that professor who's trained in life isn't supposed to be dealing with like kids and their issues with life. That should be like a certain person.
Largely, I don't know. It's been shown to kind of improve engagement a lot and lower rates of dropping out.
But don't keep that. But don't have it be a professor, a nuclear engineer I'm talking to. Have it be like someone have it be a person who's trained in this sort of crisis
That's what
management.
my tutors are. My tutor isn't at all related to economics, and I hate it because I can't go to her with anything. Can't be like, oh yeah, I'm finding this coursework really difficult at the moment, because she'll go, I don't know what
Oh,
it
okay.
is.
Mine is like he's
Mm,
he's also my professor for microparticulars.
nice. That sounds nice. I like that. I want that.
Yeah, I can't make any of his things though because I've got a radio show at that time.
Yeah.
My fault though. But like, okay, so it's necessary. It is necessary. I'm gonna say in conclusion, you also agree with me. It is necessary. But I'm saying it's
So
necessary. But can we at least try and like, whilst we're giving them more money, can we like try and if we can make it more cost effective, do something about it?
Potentially, but I think it should come from the government. That's my main point.
I wouldn't be opposed to a system where these sort of degrees where you have to work at the same time have to, not because of economic reasons, but because of course-related reasons. I think maybe like a portion of that money gets also sent to the university for the funding.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm an engineer and I'm gonna hopefully get a high paying job out of it. And some people get a degree where they're not guaranteed a high paying job, to the same level as I am.
Yeah.
Why should we both end out with the same amount of debt? Whereas, let's say what's the teacher salary?
31,000 starting.
And you know, there is something I've been hopefully getting prepared for, which is a postgrad starting 56k. Right? Why are we both having the same amount of like debt? I should have more debt. You should have less.
Yeah.
That is more than fair.
Yeah.
I'm fine with having more debt because I'm going to pay it off, whereas other people aren't going to pay it off.
I would be so much more in favour of it being like a graduate tax rather than a tuition fee. So it's just, oh, you went to uni, right? Cool. You owe an extra 1% on income tax compared to other people, or an extra 2%.
Is that not also somewhat happening anyway? Because of course, those who get higher paying jobs who are university educating, higher paying jobs, they get into richer while more getting taxed. So in a roundabout way,
except not fully, because you can pay off your tuition fee. So the higher paying job you have, the more likely you are to pay it off. Also, me and you will owe the same amount.
That's not fair.
Right?
I think I should be able to pay
exactly.
more.
Whereas the tax would mean like you would pay more in the long run, and also it wouldn't be like you wouldn't be able to stop paying that tax, right? So it won't be like, oh, if you have like parents who could just pay it off, then you're done. Awesome. It would be like, no, there's like a permanent. Yeah, you have a deduction.
If you come from an underprivileged background, you should also maybe have some sort of the amount you owe total is also should be lower as well. I think from if you are born without generational wealth, I think you need to be building generational wealth. That's what the government should be there for, is to build generational wealth. So everyone's got generational wealth. Eventually, there's no need for the government to be providing this sort of wealth if everyone's got it.
Yeah.
The government should be set up in a way to try and create a society where it's no longer needed.
Yeah.
There we go.
I like that.
Can we talk about the next topic?
Yeah, let's go on to the next one. Yeah, I do have to go at like 8, by the way, because I haven't eaten yet.
Yeah, that's understandable. We could do a quick half an hour on this, and then we're good.
Yeah.
So the US government spending is not slowed down under Trump so far. Do you want to give a readout to the audience summary? I'm going to quickly run to the loo.
Oh wait, sorry, one minute. Oh no, he's gone. Oh no, I'm left alone. Summary: US government spending. I mean, he hasn't given me the page, so I can't actually see it. Right, yeah. So claims that about 70 billion have been spent saved from DOGE. Like Elon Musk kind of saying that himself. Basically just straight up lying, right? And there's whole different things, right? There's whole different reasons. I mean, he posted a big thing of what they've saved, didn't even add up to the 65 billion he said he saved. And also then the stuff he saved, a lot of it he just hasn't saved. Or like a lot of it is like temporary freezes, or he literally just hasn't done it and just added, oh yeah, $1 billion here. And then also federal spending just hasn't gone down with Trump, right? It's like literally the same level, it's higher even, as you'll see in the graph when he scrolls down. But yeah.
This one?
Yeah, like it's higher. It's more spending.
Is this inflation adjusted though?
No.
Because what is the inflation from inflation?
It's been high because of Trump's tariffs. It's 3% in America at the moment.
But okay, this is Biden 2024 to Trump 2025, right? So 20th of January
Throughout that
for
year, it's about
20th of January for Trump would be different number because of 2024 that happened. Do you know what I mean?
No, because they both start at zero. Yeah, but and I agree, right? That's why like spending goes up over time normally. But the point is Trump ran on a platform of I will cut spending in absolute terms, not in inflationary terms. Not adjusted for inflation, I will cut spending. Not adjusted for GDP, I'll cut spending. But absolutely, I will cut spending.
I mean, I remember from episode 1, from the What Will Labour Do to Us, the first thing you said to me was, these sort of policy changes take time.
Absolutely.
So do you think
this is the issue I have with Trump? This is the issue I have with Trump. He ran on a platform of day one, I will fix things. He said day one, I will lower egg prices. He said day one, the war in Ukraine will be over. He said day one, Israel and Palestine will stop fighting. He said all of these things, and none of it's happened, right? He said instantly the economy will be good. He said instantly we'll cut spending. He said we'll get to work on it straight away and we will massively reduce spending and waste. And they haven't found anything.
I'm looking here for executive orders that he signed on day 1.
Yeah. Most of it illegal. But yeah.
Is there a number? Is that just a number?
He signed, I think it was like 17, I want to say.
So that's what he did day 1, is sign those things.
But they weren't his promises. They didn't fulfill his promises. He said he would end a war in Ukraine day 1. He hasn't. And now he's going, well, it takes time, these things. Yeah, but why did you run on it saying, I will end it on day 1?
But he did mention ending birth.
How does
he did mention?
Yeah, but how?
What I thought.
Yeah,
he did. So all of these he mentioned before, but he didn't mention all of them. Yeah, he didn't fulfill.
But he's fundamentally failed on his goals of cutting down on public spending. He just hasn't done it.
A politician lying and getting things wrong. I mean, fucking, what are we? Need this sort of shit? What the fuck do you expect? You've got to take everything with more than a grain of salt.
Yeah, because Trump ran on a platform of they're all liars, right? They're all liars and they're pulling the wool over your eyes. I'm the true one. I'm the Messiah. I'll save you. I mean, actually, go to our Instagram. I sent you a post that perfectly summarizes Trump's own view on himself.
Oh, Instagram.com says delicious. Oh, that's a good autofill. Anyway, go to, is it home profile?
Messages.
Sorry, messages, of course.
Look at that. That is an official White House post.
Is this not done by...
Long live the king.
Is this not done by...
by his team, yeah.
No, the Red Border Times magazine.
No. It's made to look like it. It was done to look like it because Elon Musk was on it, not Trump, recently.
Was he now?
Mm.
Okay. I don't understand because I grew up with it. I grew up with...
There was one of I think Elon Musk sat behind the Oval Office desk on Times Magazine.
I've grown up with Time Magazine being important. What is Time Magazine? Why does everyone say it's important? I don't get it.
No idea. It basically just kind of says person of the year. That's all I know.
It just has. It's just a sort of saying we as a clout-based organisation say this person's got the most clout. Okay, sure, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
This being from this, I don't know. It's definitely giving off the content the White House has been pushing out is a lot badass, sort of down with the people, sort of saying your mind, less stuffy kind of vibe. I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, but yeah, but is the final answer, really. But
yeah, fully. But
can you imagine if Biden and Obama posted photographs of themselves with King's Crown from official accounts? Everyone would want fucking
crazy. It's literally ludicrous that you're doing stuff like that.
I mean, it's because Trump run under his character, and his character is like an in-your-face businessman who's going to get shit done. So this is in brand with what he said.
Not a fucking king. Not a king. He didn't run on being a king. He's not a king. America was literally founded because they wanted to overthrow the king.
dude, no. I think the king thing is like really irrelevant. All right, no one's getting really mad about fucking like Elvis Presley being referred to as the king.
No, but Trump is the president. Sid, Trump is the man in charge, right? And the whole idea of a president is they're not above the law. The whole idea of the king is they are above the law, right? It fundamentally breaks down everything America's republic stands for. He breaks every element of their constitutional republic, and he will keep doing so. I mean, Elon Musk today took over a meeting with White House like staff. Trump went, I'm going to let Elon speak. Elon proceeded to speak for like 20 minutes, and then the meeting ended. Elon Musk was in charge of meetings in the White House. And we were talking earlier, right? We mentioned earlier a little bit about deep state. That is the deep state, if anything. An unelected oligarch who's paid his way in is now getting control of the government, and of a man who is calling himself a king, saying stating clearly his intentions to run for a third presidency, which breaks the constitution, signing things that aren't within his power that break the constitution. Ending birthright citizenships is in the constitution. You're allowed birthright citizenship. That is within the constitution. On the first day he broke it. The first day.
I don't know.
We are literally watching the collapse of democracy, and in America, This is the end of it.
I think you're being overdramatic and overanalyzing pieces of art and overanalyzing intention. But I can understand, because you can, if you see, you can see it, and you can, if you think deep enough about it, you can find it hard. But like, having some guy speak at a meeting does not mean he's taking over the meeting. I mean, the meeting is not just Trump.
Musk is giving press conferences from behind the Oval Office. He's had photo ops from behind the desk in the Oval Office. Trump is doing peace deals on another country's behalf that he doesn't own to one of the world's biggest tyrants at the moment, right? He's threatened invading NATO countries. He's threatened expanding territory, right? He's calling himself a king. He's broken the constitutions more time than you can count, and he has pushed to the very limit and beyond what his presidential powers should be.
I don't understand your breaking constitution thing, all right? The constitution was originally 9 things, right? At the beginning. Whatever.
I don't know.
There's a certain number, and then things get added and things have been removed, right?
Yes. Yep. So you need, in order to do that, you need a 2/3 majority in Congress, right? You need the Senate's approval, and you need every single state to sign off on it. Trump did it through an executive presidential order. That, like, it was just his decision. You are supposed to have the governor of every single state say, I'm okay with that, and a majority, I believe a 2/3 majority in Congress, and Senate approval, which he doesn't have a 2/3 majority in Congress. He wouldn't have every governor's permission on it, right? And he's just done it, right? The last time a constitutional amendment was made was like 100 years ago, because it's really bloody difficult to get constitutional amendments through. That's the whole point of a constitution, is you can't just go, yeah, changed it now, or else there's no point in having a constitution. UK doesn't have a constitution because any parliament could come in and go, new rules. America does, so that Trump can't come in and go, yeah, getting rid of that. So that Biden couldn't come in and just go, getting rid of guns. They're banned. Right? He couldn't do that. He can't just sign an order, no, I'm banning them now. He would have to get every state to agree, 2/3 majority in Congress, and Senate approval.
But did they have that for right for women to vote, desegregation of schools, all these sort of things? Did they have every single governor from every single state vote? Like, that's impossible. The vitriol.
No, that's why it's like one of the reasons why the Civil War was fought. One of the repercussions of the Civil War was you have to sign saying you are going to ban slavery.
Yeah.
And stuff like women's right to vote. I don't believe that is in the Constitution because it wasn't expressly written out of the Constitution. Like, it didn't say women cannot vote in the Constitution, therefore you're allowed to add it. You're allowed to do it, but it expressly says person born in the United States has the right to citizenship. Trump came in and went, no, I'm changing that. That would literally be like Biden coming in and going, I'm banning guns. I don't care what it says. Also, he's breaking free speech rules. The freedom of speech. Well, the first Constitution, right? The First Amendment. The number one thing in the Constitution.
The one I care about.
Freedom of speech. Yeah. Have you seen that they have announced that from now on, it won't just be journalists that come in and like they decide, right? Oh, I want to come in and record and like take notes and ask questions at press conferences. They are now from now on going to be picked which news sources are allowed to come inside the White House. You will not be able to watch a press conference if the Trump administration doesn't like you. That's insane. Someone like the old system wouldn't be able to report on it. So someone like the Guardian, who Trump clearly doesn't like, right, because they're left wing, would be able to go in and go, yeah, look, I'm from the Guardian.
Why the Guardian allowed in? Why am I not allowed in with my big titty magazine? Like why is the Guardian allowed in and those sort of smaller press not allowed in?
I think you would be able to if you went through the appropriate like screening in terms of making sure you are a legitimate person, not just someone like there to like assassinate him or something. But they're cherry.
Why is there only 40 reporters at a time?
It's only the ones we want to.
Why was there only 40 in there at the time, sort of 10,000 journalists from all around the globe at the same time? Because they all have equal right to it, because it's their free speech to let them into that room otherwise. And to be fair, I think that this is all quite outdated, this press thing. I think what it should be instead is the press secretary goes in front of a camera and no cuts. They're talking. Because, of course, you know, if the Guardian aren't there, they're still going to write an article by quoting, by quoting someone else.
Who gets to pick? Who gets to ask the questions? Because half the point of press conferences is people goes,
I didn't think about the questions.
What does this mean for that? Yeah.
To be fair, press doesn't even answer them anyway. To be honest, either way.
I mean, even Fox News are saying it's a short-sighted decision.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? One of his
I'm not defending it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. I think it should be more. But I don't think crying free speech about it is the correct one over it.
It is free speech though.
Well,
or like it's not. It's freedom of press. It's the freedom of press which allows for free speech. Which allows for free speech. One of the biggest things America's go for it is freedom of press and freedom of speech.
But again,
and this is the first time in 70 years someone's done that.
So who was the last person to do
it? Someone 70 years ago.
That's brilliant to know. Was there can you think of a reason why 70 years ago they would have accepted people? And we're not still talking about it now?
Alright, so what year is it now? 2024. So 70 years ago, 1954.
1950s then.
So it was I'm assuming that means it was a precedent that was set up in the 50s because it probably got changed during the World Wars.
But again,
that would be my assumption. It was much more selected during the World Wars because they needed the propaganda.
Positive press. I'm going to look here. What is the? So what will I search to find the Guardian whine about this?
Officials, just literally. So I searched up. What was it? So how were journalists picked in the White House, and it like came up.
Okay, so say the previous one, because we can try and find this. The rotation of polls, which were previously determined by the White House Correspondents Association. What did they do? They do because, of course, they must have. They were. It said here, the rotation of poll reporters was previously determined. It wasn't any press has a chance.
Correspondents. Yeah.
So what did they do?
Well, no, I think but it's supposed to be like because it's a rotation. So I think the point is as well is it's like there'll be like 100 papers that say we want someone, and they'll rotate who it is. And now Trump said, "I will pick who I want."
Yeah, I understand. I understand that definitely, but like, I want to. Either way, so what really deep down is the difference between the president picking versus the committee picking that the president picked out?
No, but he didn't. That's supposed to be the point of it.
Does it say anywhere that they were independent from the president? Oh my god, it's not telling me how it works.
No, it doesn't, but I would assume it was.
I mean,
because otherwise there wouldn't be a point.
So
there would be no outcry about him doing it if it was the same system, right?
There'd be outcry anyway, to be fair. To be honest.
Before I want not just news, it's just news.
How the polls of America. For nearly a century, the story has been written as the press pool. Small team of writers, photographers, technicians assigned each day. So they've been assigned each day. I'm looking at this here. I'm trying to find the best way.
Okay, and you were typically selected through a mix of accreditations. You need credentials. You need to be part of a White House Correspondents Association. Permanent visa. The system favored major media outlets, but independent and smaller journalists could still get access if they met the criteria.
And what are the criteria?
Who selected? So it was just called the White House Press Office. So not a partisan thing. So like civil servants.
What do you mean?
So like how we have civil servants.
Yes.
Like that.
And
so like government officials that aren't based on party.
They're the ones who picked it. They're again beholden to, as I described, because I can't think of a better word, to deep space.
Oh, they go down the deep state route. No, literally their job.
Those who are unelected officials who
yes,
the fact they are unelected inherently mean they're not representing the will of the people. They're not, right?
No, that doesn't necessarily mean that.
Why not?
Because the will of the people could be to have someone unrepresented, and the point is the point here is to not have somebody that is involved in politics, because if you have somebody who is involved in politics, they will just pick the papers that agree with them, which is exactly what Trump has said he will start doing. That's what you don't want.
Do they not, like these people who are selecting them, would they not want to, let's say you were one of these people who selected, who you're not a political person, like in an official capacity, but you still have political beliefs, right? Would you not also be beholden to your own political beliefs? Therefore, if you were to by chance fill this,
but there's zero way of removing that. The way of removing that isn't steer into the skid and say Trump gets to pick. That's not the way of removing political bias, right? Yeah, they'll have some political bias, but that's also why it's an office. There will be multiple people. It will have to pass multiple stages and multiple different people who will each have their own say. It will not be one guy who goes yes, no, yes, 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 no, no. Like, whereas now it will be one person who is specifically employed by Trump to specifically pick out journalists that will be favorable to them.
What if there was a system instead where it's a press secretary who speaks directly to a camera, and there is a website where, like, the government website where you can like vote for things that can be talked about in the Commons, like that. Yeah, a system similar to that, where if on a Monday it opens up and then they'll get read out next Monday, whichever the top 3 questions with the top 3 most votes, they're the ones that you have that will be read out and will be answered.
No, because the point of journalists, the point of journalists, right, is that they also spend their life researching and trying to dig up stories. That's the whole point. So they can do research and try to find scoops that they then can then ask and catch politicians off guard. The general public won't know any more than the politicians told them, whereas the journalists could.
But like, if I was looking at that website, and then one of the websites said by, oh, that's a reporter I like, and it says, can you please comment further on Rattlesnake Gate or whatever? What the fuck is that? I'm voting that one. I want to find out if that's find out more information on that.
Potentially, but why can't they just put their hand up? What is this obsession with it has to be approved by the masses all the time?
Because if we are under a system which is democracy, the whole point is to get this democracy to try their best to represent the will of the people. Anything else is
not at all times. No, not all times. We don't run a train service and go, well, let's have a vote as to whether we run the trains today or not.
The trains are not
right.
democracy.
We don't have a traffic policy of we go, well, it's just wherever more cars are, that one will be the green light at all times.
Because again,
right?
Because
that would be democracy.
We don't falsely claim that our train service is a democracy.
We don't claim that our press systems are democratic.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. What about what the newspaper publishes as democratic?
They're there to inform the masses.
Yeah, they inform you so that you can make a democratic decision. You don't get a say on what they publish and what they don't publish. Right, and it's not a vote. The Guardian doesn't go, what do you want included in our newspaper today? Oh, I want this, I don't want this. They just do it. And this is the beauty of capitalism, right? Your democratic choice there is you get to pick which stuff you buy. If a certain newspaper produces certain stuff all the time, like let's say my friend who I was saying earlier, who watches like almost exclusively GB News, is because he doesn't trust any other news source because he thinks they hide stuff. So he just doesn't watch them or buy their stuff or listen to them.
Because within that system, we are able to vote for these journalists democratically through voting by wallet.
Yeah, by wallet. So why should we take that out of it? I don't get what the benefit of having people vote. Also, are people even going to do that, Sid? There's barely voter turnout for elections, right? Like we hit about 59% for the UK general election. Like there's not going to be like the majority of the population almost every day voting on like what questions we should ask.
The most politically tuned in and most politically informed, and those who care the most, will be ones asking the questions.
So if we're going off a system where the ones who are the most clued in should have the most say, right? It's good that only the ones that are clued in have the say, is what you're saying. Then it should be left to the journalists to do.
I wouldn't say the ones who are most clued in, because I don't think that's a true term.
If not, then we should exclusively make it so that everyone has to vote.
I think you're making a false dichotomy here. For both points you made. First one, I don't think it's the most knowledgeable. It's those who are the most passionate are the ones who will be doing this sort of thing.
Journalists are the ones that are going to be most passionate about journalism.
Which is a job.
Yeah, is quite a niche job that you have to do a lot of studying and have to be really good at to be the person going into the White House. Yeah. You have to be the top of your field.
You do.
That's not like some intern just doing it.
And do you not think those who have gone under that over that path become top of their field? Do you not think that they will carry some implicit bias?
I think every human being alive carries implicit bias. I read The Guardian because it has a left-wing bias. That's why I like it. I want left-wing bias in it. I don't read it so that I can read a bunch of right-wing stuff. I read it because I know it talks about what I want to talk about. It brings up issues that I want to bring up.
I think it's because I try to aim for political neutrality and everything here. That's my issue here. That's
which I think for news is a stupid goal, because politics and news are basically the same thing. The news is based on politics. If you had independence of that, there would be nothing said ever in the news. It would just be like, so and so did this. But even then, like what you choose to report right? Why has this paper chosen to report on the fact that Trump's cut off things? It's probably not because they love him. It's probably not because
Most likely
they
the
think it's
opposite.
best. Exactly.
Yeah.
So like you read it knowing it has bias.
Yeah, I mean, this is I think I'm not able to find a solution. I'm going to very easily condemn this action of selecting things. I'm not going to say it's restricting freedom of the press because I think it was restricted beforehand anyway. It's just a different system, which is also is now doing it for more political bias
Yeah.
that benefits
I think
current administration.
if it goes from less restricted to more restricted, that's a bad way to go. And from less partisan to more partisan, that's a bad way to go.
What is the least partisan way to do it?
The old system we had.
The least partisan. There's no hypothetical situation which would be better.
A random random name generator.
I would be fine with that. Do it.
Sure.
That's what I want to say. I would rather.
Also, I think big media outlets should also have guaranteed seats.
Why?
I think things like the New York Times, well, because they're read more.
What makes
why
their,
should
what
like
makes their questions more valuable? Then?
But why should me and you have equal access into the White House as someone reporting from the New York Times? Because they're going to objectively make a better story that will be read by more people.
All right. Well, let's say the New York Times gets that, and the question is ignored. Then what?
The question is what?
The question is ignored. What's the point of having them in then? The question wasn't answered.
That is an answer in and of itself. If you ask a politician, so if you say like, is it true that you ordered a hit on this person, and they go, next question, like that's, someone who didn't do that isn't going to
comes out and it's like, all right, I'm going to chat for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's 20 people in the room. I've got time for 3 questions.
Yep.
Her ignoring the other 17 is not like telling.
No, it's not.
Exactly.
That's just luck. That's just luck if you get picked or not.
Right. So
there's no other way to beat that other than like devote more time into it.
All right. So inherently, why does the New York Times, if it's down to luck whether the question gets asked, and if the question is probably, maybe, who knows, might be a better, more informative thing, better, more informed question, then maybe
because
if they if the question's answered or it's not answered, either way they're writing the story, right?
Yes.
Why do they have to be in the room if they're not going to get the question answered?
Because they'll get to pick up on the stuff of the other people are. So if someone says something, maybe they notice facial expressions, maybe they pay more attention to the words than we would. Like there's a reason why they're journalists and we're not.
I understand the system that we've got at the moment, but that was more suited for newspapers. All right, we've been now in the digital age where it's getting recorded. You can see every squint, blink, and face scrunch made by every single person in that room. I think the room should be downsized and say, or maybe like, right, 20 seats, 20 questions.
But why? Why? Like, what does this really achieve compared to the system we have now? What's the point of that?
If it's going to change, here's how it should be changed, is what I'm saying, basically.
And sure, if you want to do it, if you wanted to downsize it, fine, downsize it. The main reason it's a big room, is that politicians like speaking to crowds. Right? That's the main reason. They're vain and they like speaking to crowds.
Yeah, fucking vainness is not happy.
But like, the point is, having Trump personally pick them is definitely a step backwards. Just because it wasn't a perfect system doesn't mean we should just throw it all away and pick an objectively bad one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is objectively bad. The system is not as good. And I had said I am condemning these actions right here because like, I'm not gonna. Again, I'm not too sure if there's a freedom of press related. Honestly,
yeah.
Because I can understand what you're saying, but like with me, I'm unable to draw a line of when it is freedom of press if the line that I have drawn has already been crossed either way. So I'm unable to fully like clamp down on is it definitely attack on the freedom of press when I think freedom of press is an attack because it's such a nebulous term to have.
I think there's an incredibly baffling take that I don't think you actually hold. I don't think you hold the view that, well, once you don't have it, to hell with it all.
No.
You don't have that.
That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, let me organize my words a bit more. All right. What I'm trying to say here is that I'm struggling to draw the line that you've drawn of the previous system is not impeding on freedom of the press, and the new system is. Because in my eyes, because I am so I overthink everything. I'm unable to. I view that the freedom of press has already been stomped on before, so I am unable to say, is this the point? Because I can say, yes, what's happening now is definitely an attack on freedom of the press, but before was also an attack on the freedom of press, maybe to a lesser extent. But how much drama is involved, I'm not too sure on, because of the fact that I've already think that the personal liberties of every journalist has already been attacked by the fact that they're not able to have a question asked at all, which is an unrealistic goal, sadly.
Sure, but then you've got to still understand, right, that one is worse than the other.
Yes, it definitely is worse.
And that the new system is worse.
Yes, it is worse.
Therefore we shouldn't have.
Apart from it's not worse for the current regime. But it is worse for those who are in agreement with the current regime.
Yeah, because they're going to get much more biased news now.
Yes, they have no recourse of hearing any dissenting opinions. Well, they will still be able to. They are now unable to hear dissenting questions that are too critical. Because let's be honest, Fox News is still critical of Trump, maybe to a lesser degree than the Guardian. But you know what I mean? Like, if now we're not going to hear questions that are too critical. It's critical because if you're there, like, why is Trump so amazing? Like, fuck off. They're not going to say that. They have some, even the biggest ideologue. Is that the word? Ideologue? If the biggest ideologue is not going to be doing that stuff, right? I think they have more self-respect than that.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. But they can't now, almost. They can't.
I understand that. I want to, in my free time after this, because I think we're wrapping up here, I'm going to give this graph a look a bit at the raw data, and I want to just adjust it for Biden's lines to be 3% higher and see how that truly affects it. Yeah,
but I mean, I think the point is more that, like, he said it would go down. It didn't go down.
Yes, I mean,
and apparently they've cut 65 billion. So what you should also do is, yes, adjust for inflation, and then also adjust for the fact that allegedly they've cut 65 billion.
But wouldn't it be like how if I cancel my Netflix subscription, I've still paid for this month, I have to wait till next month for me to actually see a difference in my bank account? You know what I mean?
No, because it works on accruals basis.
On a what sort of basis?
Accruals. So as you do it. So if you say, I want to stop funding, you get to go, cool, I'll cut that off funding.
But do they give the money? Do they give the money every day, every week, every month, every year? The 15 grand thing.
Cash. It's not going. It's not like the government's got, like, they're literally going, here's $1, here's $2, here's $3, here's $4. They're going like, all right, how much have you promised this today? Okay, you promised this much. Cool, we'll write that down. How much did you promise today? Okay, that much. We'll write that down. That's how it works.
So, but again, that happens month by month. They'll ask you at the end of each day, how much did you promise? It's at the end of each whatever period. It might be month, quarter, year, 5-year period.
I believe it's every day.
Day. Fucking hell.
Yeah, if you look at the graph, if you look at the graph, it goes like dum 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 dum.
But again, because this is a graph,
yeah, but it's not got smooth points, so you're not just getting 2 points and extrapolating it. It's literally going like.
Yeah, these are points every day. Yeah. I want to look. I'm going to spend out of the camera, look at this data a bit more depth, and if I have anything interesting, we'll amend it within the comments.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Or attach a little bonus unlisted video of us looking through it. We
could film one just for a reel.
Could just of like that's brilliant for content. Like, oh yeah, in continuation with our 2 hour and a half podcast, which you should watch by the way. Here's a little update.
Yeah, it's sick.
But yeah, like, because I feel like this is our podcast, but as much as it is our podcast, it's your podcast. Let's say some goodbyes.
Yeah. We wrapping it up then.
I think it's a good fair shout. We weren't able to talk sadly about Leo Strauss.
Yeah, we've got
But I
to
think
save
it's
that
because
for next
we did let's like reflect.
a
On
lot
what
more.
we've
We did more at the beginning as well, actually, than I thought we would. We did more of an intro than I thought. Like, we got into a bit of a debate right off the bat.
I think it was fun and interesting, and a bonus for you.
Oh no, it was very good. Yeah, it was very good. But yeah, that wasn't like planned, so that's why we've run over a bit.
Yes,
but that's good because Leo Strauss is like it's a kind of philosophical take. It's not relevant to like it's not time relevant.
It's forever relevant.
You can do it. Yeah, but it's not time relevant,
Yeah.
so we could do it whenever. So yeah.
So like, to be fair, I'm also like critiquing what we've done as what we've done as effective communicators. So with the first one with the increase in the tuition fees, how off topic did we get? Do you think? Like, what major points did we bring up during the first 45 minutes?
Oh, we got. Yeah, I think we definitely came off topic. We kind of came off for like, well, it depends because I wanted to talk about what we should do about it. And I think the article like there is kind of talking about like, do people want to do it? But we were kind of saying what our ideas were that we prefer, which I think I prefer talking about.
I think that's an effective use of our time and the effective use of the data we saw.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this other one, we did completely spiral out to talk about the press thing.
Yeah,
but it is an important
and
issue.
Trump as well in general. But
I don't think we can go a single week without mentioning Trump at least once a week, as we can't go a week without mentioning the UK economy a week. Both of them are very important.
That is true. We'll probably have to. Plus, I think we should fight against Trump. So
I think we should fight against all things,
like health.
Yes, we should fight to improve it.
What about happiness?
We should fight to improve it too. We should fight and strive to live in a society. We should fight those forces, those evil satanic forces that are forcing us not to be, whether it be an oversubscription of pharmaceutical drugs which aren't needed, or other things similar to just like the fact that our parks suck. I think we should fight.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think on that note, that is a good place to wrap up. Thank you anyone for watching, for getting this far. We did have one live viewer. Pretty cool. But yeah, thank you if anyone's actually like watched this afterwards. But yeah, see you next week.
Lead, don't follow. I've been to Sydney. Thank you very much.
Lead, don't follow.
Yeah. All right. Be your own. Like you're the path of your own destiny. All right. We don't do what we say. All right. We're just two wankers. All right. Just actually like make your own opinions. Tell us if we're wrong, please.
Yeah, please do comment. Have a go at us if you're wrong. Leave comments. Send us DMs on like the handles you see to there.
Other way. Go on.
Oh, it's that way, isn't it?
Nope, other way.
Is my camera flipped on the thing?
Yep, that way.
It's that way.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, my camera's flipped. But yeah, so leave us like a DM at one of those, and then we can comment and respond to it. So yeah,
we'll see you all same time next week. Oh, predictions for next week's topics.
Oh, I don't know.
Because last week we predicted AFD stuff, we forgot to mention that. Like, yes, we were completely. I was correct. It was a higher polling percentage than we thought, but not as high as Elon Musk thought.
Yeah, and they didn't win. Which is good.
Didn't win a majority, no.
No. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next week. It's kind of an open thing. I think something will definitely happen with the foreign aid and defense spending. That's going to like become a really big thing. I reckon there will be a big thing about Ukraine.
Yes, something's going to happen with Ukraine.
Putin and Trump will come to some sort of agreement. Also, currently, Starmer is meeting Trump. And I think my prediction is that meeting will go horribly.
Yeah, I'm not sure because they're both quite silver-tongued. I'm not sure but they're both aware enough of each other's skills to not fall for each other.
Potentially, but I also think Trump's a babbling idiot who likes insulting people.
But it's effective. It's an effective communication method of sort of berate people to do what you say.
No, it's not.
For
No,
getting,
it's not.
for getting shit done
Everyone
for it to
says
serve
this.
his purpose.
Everyone says this. Oh, great negotiating tactic. It's not a good negotiation tactic to piss off your friends. That's not a good tactic.
Yeah, friends.
That's
Do you think Trump views Keir Starmer as a friend though?
We are objectively, the UK is an ally of America,
And we should
he is pushing us to not be one.
Exactly. Yeah. For
He's
short-term
testing
self-service
how
interests.
much he could get rid of us.
Yeah. Again, it sounds like I'm defending them. I'm not. All right. I'm saying that these sort of bullying things is not going to work, and it's not a good thing to do either.
Potentially, yeah.
Now, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Let's stop it. All right.
Yeah.
Keep going for hours.